What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another prediction video. This is actually the first one of this NFL season. This first one I had time to kind of come off and do. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with the Thursday night game, Jacksonville versus the Saints. I believe Jacksonville will pull off the win in New Orleans. I just think Jacksonville's the better team this year. The Saints haven't been bad, but they haven't been great either. And I'm just not sold on them being that good this year. So I'm going to take the Jags here. The next game, Ravens versus Lions. I'm a Ravens fan. I'm taking the Ravens all day, every day, no doubt. Although I do believe the Lions will keep this game close. The Ravens' defense is just too good, I think, personally. And when their offense is on, their offense is on. They are a hard team to beat. I think the Lions will keep it close, but I think the Ravens will ultimately come out with the W. Cleveland versus the Colts. I believe Cleveland will pull off this win here. I'm not sure if Deshaun's going to play, which is a big factor going into this game. But they beat the Niners with PJ Walker as quarterback. I think they could beat the Colts in Gardner Minshew. This could be a good game if Deshaun doesn't play. I believe that Gardner is a very hit or miss quarterback in this league. He could have a great game. He could suck. Cleveland has the best defense in the NFL. I'm going to take Cleveland right here, right now. Buffalo will easily handle business against the Patriots, who have literally no offense this year. They have easily been one of the worst offenses in the NFL. I think they scored the first touchdown of this month. For the longest time, the Boston Red Sox had more runs scored this month, or more points scored this month than the Patriots have scored all month, which is sad since the Sox only played one game. Bills will handle business there. Washington will pretty easily, in my opinion, take down the Giants. I don't think this is much of a contest. The Giants, they've been bad this year. Washington, they got kind of outside playoff looks. Now, this could be another Bears situation where Washington should handle business and gets blown out. But I believe Washington will handle business against the Giants. Moving on to the Bears versus the Raiders. I believe the Raiders will pull this off. I'm assuming Jimmy G might not be playing this game. I don't think it matters who's quarterbacking the Raiders. Neither team's very good. The Bears have been bad. The Raiders have been bad. The only thing I can really say is if Fields has another one of those games like he did against Washington, Bears will probably win this. But I'm going to go with the Raiders just because I don't have faith that Fields is going to do that again. Moving on to the Falcons versus the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers will handle business. Man, Baker Mayfield has looked great this year for the most part. The Falcons, they look like a quarterback away from competing, and honestly, that's not going to improve this week. The Buccaneers, still a complete team. This is still the complete team that Tom Brady had when he won the Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield has stepped in and looked not as good as Brady, but decent enough to make them competitive. They got a good shot at winning the South this year. Falcons, I think they just need to try to get a quarterback in this draft and aim for next year. The Steelers versus the Rams. I think this is going to be a Rams victory. Steelers defense probably won't score 2 to 3 times against the Rams to help them lead them to victory, because we all know the Steelers offense will not score more than one touchdown at max. It's going to be a field goal off if the Steelers defense is playing their hearts out. But I think the Rams will pull out the victory. The Cardinals versus the Seahawks. This is a pretty easy one, in my opinion. The Seahawks will handle business. I don't believe the Cardinals are out here actually trying to win too many football games. They have been competitive. They kept games close. They could shock the Seahawks, but I do believe Seahawks lost last week. I think they'll bounce back, go 4-2. I think they want to kind of keep in the mix and make sure they're in the playoff hunt come December, so I believe the Seahawks cannot really afford to throw these games against the Cardinals, especially since they have some tough games down the stretch here. Green Bay versus the Broncos. Man, the Broncos have been bad, so Green Bay is going to pick up this win, I think, pretty handily. Jordan Love has been on and off this year. It's been very hit or miss with him, but he's been on more than the Broncos have been on this year, who have been one of the worst teams. Somebody dropped 70 on them this year, which is absolutely insane. I think Green Bay will handle business in Denver. The Chargers versus the Chiefs. The Chiefs offense might not look good, but they're going to beat the Chargers this week. Brandon Staley needs to be fired. I think if they lose this game, Staley should be fired immediately after the game. Now, I know the Chargers won't do that, because why would you use logic? He shouldn't have a job this year, but he still does. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs, they haven't been as offensively powerful as they have in years past, but they are still just the Chiefs, and they're probably going to dominate Chargers for the most part. If not, the Chargers just choke in the fourth quarter anyway. The Dolphins and the Eagles. This is actually probably the most interesting matchup. I'm going to take the Dolphins here just based off the fact that Philly kind of doesn't look good offensively this year. They have looked very off. Their defense is still solid. More or less their D-line, which honestly, can their defense stop Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? I don't think so right now. Adding Julio Jones won't make any difference for the Eagles here. I believe the Dolphins will pull off this victory, giving the Eagles their second loss. San Francisco